Welcome to Kroenkes Live, the show where bold minds meet real talk. This isn't your average sports or news show. It's where we break down sports, culture, and controversy with facts, fire, and fearless honesty. Here, truth cuts through the noise and hype gets exposed. From football to track and field, from world issues to local debates, we ask the tough questions, speak without fear, and go deeper than the headlines. We don't follow the crowd, we set the trend. While others recycle the same tired takes, we bring fresh insight, unfiltered analysis, and bold perspectives. No echo chambers, no puppet talk, just real conversations for people who think for themselves. Listen with your brain, not just your ears. Think critically, question boldly, and speak freely. This is Kroenkes Live, where reason rules the mic and truth always win. Come on, let's get into it. Well, I was going to say good afternoon, but it's actually morning. Drew Ross, how you doing? How you doing, Drew Ross? Thanks for being here. I'm going to do a short soliloquy first before I start the program. And I have a very special guest with me. But first of all, welcome to, I'm going to say this morning because it's 11:46 Eastern Standard Time. In the UK, it's about 4:46. If you're in California, it's early, it's 8 something. So I'm going to do a short soliloquy first, and then I'm going to bring my guest in. But this is about my football team. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but do some deep dive. To me, Arsenal's at a crossroad. In just under 6 years, since Mikel Arteta took charge, we have spent more than $1 billion. It's probably more than £1 billion gross. So I'm going to use dollars. It's the exchange rate. It's probably about 90% pound to dollar, or probably 85%. Has flown to this project. We have never spent so much money on any one given manager. Blockbuster transfers, rising wages, top-tier agent fees, and almost a complete squad built from the ground up, because we gave him the opportunity to redo the entire team. And we're back in the Champions. We're in the Champions League semifinals last year, right? We've come like second in the Premier League 3 years in a row with a full squad of main international players. But here's the tough truth. Arsenal fans have wrestled with all that money that we have spent and all those changes that we have made, yet we have had one FA Cup in 6 years. And in fact, all that money we have spent have not bought us one trophy. Because the one trophy we won when Arteta took over in 2029 December was with Emery's team, not his team, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and the others. It wasn't his team. So that money wasn't spent yet. So for all this investment, have we come far enough? Are we still chasing shadows like Man City and Liverpool, and which they have turned their spending into medals and legacy, and we have turned ours into almost rank. So today we're going to strip around the icon and we'll deal with the headlines. Hard numbers, fearless debate. So let's start with, do a quick synopsis of what we're going to cover, and then I'll bring my guest in. Let's start with the ownership. The Kroenkes have shifted from being silent partners to aggressive backers, approving some of Europe's biggest transfers and spending money like it's water. As we say in Jamaica, like a water. We now rank among the biggest spenders with Chelsea and City and Man U. It's only more recently this year Liverpool spending money. And their net spend is less than ours. We have the fourth highest wage bill, fourth or third highest wage bill in the Premier League. Huge agent fees. And the question remains, does spending guarantee progress? Or does a lack of accountability mean what I would consider wasted money? On recruitment, we have done well. Rice, Ødegaard, Saliba is not his. You want to claim it. Gabriel Magalhaes. Just to name a few. But for every success, there's question mark. Havertz, Jesus always injured. We just bought Gyökeres. Still too early. Don't know if it'll work out. But compared to Liverpool's position, when they buy the Salah and the Van Dijk was about 75 million. Salah was much, much cheaper. And you look through the team that they have bought with the Manes of the world from Southampton for less than 40 mil. Salah was less than 40 mil. and look at the return they get on their investment. So is our rebuild decisive or just a steady rebuild? And what about the man at the helm? And this is what we're going to get to today. It's key to this discussion. Arteta gave us structure, clarity, and belief. Our defense is much stronger. Our identity much sharper. We're generating money like it's water also. Over £700 million last year, which we can reinvest in the team. Yet we're tactically rigid, heavy reliance on Saka, and we're reactive in our game decision, which is still holding us back. Obviously, more recently with the Liverpool game, where he started a defensive team with 8 basic defensive players versus the 3 offensive players on the field. Liverpool had more offensive players than us. Can Arteta make the leap from promising manager to serial winner, or will someone else finish the job if he can't finish the job? So I'm going to bring in my guest now. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about, is Arteta the man for the job? So, Tony, up to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I'm very well. I want to apologize in advance. I'm having some housework done. So in the background, there's a lot of drilling going on. So to the viewers, if you do hear that noise, I do apologize. I've got workmen doing work on my house currently.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So let's start off with the ownership. They have spent quite a bit of money. When they first came in, they were dormant owners. They came in when Asamoah was around. They didn't spend a lot of money. Arsenal fans were very upset. They didn't back Wenger at all. We built a stadium. We had debt to pay off. Money wasn't flowing. Just Kroenkes took over. Arteta joined. And since he's been running the program, we have spent a lot of money. 4th highest money wage bill in England. Spent over £1 billion in gross. You gotta be careful about that. It's gross, not net. And the question is, have you graded them? What grade? If you grade them from 8, what grade would you give them? What's your view on the Kroenkes first? And what grade would you give them?
So, as you mentioned, I think you have to kind of look at the Kroenkes in 2 stages. There's a stage where Stan was in control and we didn't spend, and then he's passed the reins on to Josh. And we did, and now we've started to spend. More importantly, with Josh starting to becoming more integral into how Arsenal run, our recruitment strategy also changed. So we started seeing people coming into the organization who were clearly better skilled. We saw Edu coming in. We saw Rouse and Leahy. Now, everything didn't work out the way it wanted to, but there was a clear strategy change in terms of recruitment spend. So, as I said, you kind of have to look at those two in 2 separate ways. And to me, stage 1 of it, you might call that the consolidation period, where I buy a club and I sit and I look and see what is happening, how it's happening before I start making wide scale changes. Obviously, that came at a price because they didn't finance anything for Wenger, and the fan base were, extremely upset at what was going on, seeing our rivals around us going on to spend a lot of money and seeing them gain success, especially up in Manchester City. But, it's also a case of Arsenal fans have to also think to themselves, be careful what you wish for, because we've also seen during the time of the Kroenkes, lots of other clubs make significant changes in their boardrooms, in case of ownership, and it's gone completely pear-shaped.
I would say one other club. I'd say one. I think go major 6. Well, it's more Man U, right? And maybe to a lesser extent that.
One second. I'm on a call at the moment.
So, as Tony was saying, Tony was equating or analyzing
downstairs.
Creating an analogy between Arsenal and the other teams, and maybe the discussion is mainly about the top 6, frankly. It's mainly about the top 6 versus the other teams. I mean, we can bring in teams like Brighton if we wanted to. But it's mainly about talking about the top 6, which is if you do an analogy between us or a comparative between us and say some of the big 6 teams. So of them, Man U have gone through these changes, but we don't get to that actually. And we seem to be in a better place going forward, I would say. Right? But go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so I mean, look, as I was saying, a lot of other teams have had management changes, the likes of Everton, Aston Villa, Newcastle, and things have not panned out the way they looked, where, you looked at it on the face value when it first happened and thought, hang on a second, this club look like they're about to turn a corner and become a big, a big team in the Premier League and possibly even the wider, football world. And it's not happened. And
so
clearly,
I'm gonna jump on that a little bit, Tony, and defend those teams. And here's why: the big 6 have created an oligopoly. They have cornered the market. So if you are Newcastle with the richest owners in the Premier League, you can't spend your money.
Yeah.
You just steal all the money you can't spend because they have restricted your money to 70% of the income you generate, while they have had the legacy of generating a ton of money. Arsenal makes 700 million. 70% is almost 500 million that they can spend, right? On say wages. They can spend 500 million pounds on wages. Compared to Newcastle, whose revenue generation is much, much smaller. If you take 70% of 200,000, it's 140 versus 500. It's hard to compete to get the best players who want to be paid at the top of the market. Aston Villa, for example, rich American owners can't spend money, have to sell David Luiz and the best players because they don't have the revenues to pay the wages. So I understand what you're saying, but we're in a little bit different boat. That's why I do the comparison between Man City.
Another club I think you need to bring into the equation is Chelsea. Look at
they're part of the conversation. They're part of the conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
A completely different strategy in terms of how they were going to go about doing their business.
Right.
One which is clearly now being seen as illegal because they've now had 79 fines put to them as a result of their trading.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, don't. It's a case of don't always think that what someone else has got is the obvious answer, because it clearly doesn't work that way.
So I'm gonna be a contrarian on this program with me and Tony. I'm gonna be a contrarian. So it's a contrarian view. By the way, I did do a poll, even though a lot of people didn't vote in the poll, on the 16 vote, because I believe the Kroenkes are not given enough credit more recently over the last 5 years for what they have done for the club. They've been judged based on their past, not their current.
Yeah.
Of the 16 people, 60% said they should get a B versus an A. No A, by the way. 31% said, and by the way, I spelled grade wrong here with C. I don't know what I was doing. I just realized that. So 31% said they should get C, others said 6%. That means between D and F, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll say this about the Kroenkes. Even the last window, we spent over 250 million pounds. All I hear about is how great Bertha is. Come in, he's made all these great acquisitions. When he Bertha have $250 million to spend, or did somebody give it to him to spend? So the owner must have allowed him to spend the $250 he spent in one window. So give credit where credit is due. Yes, there were abysmal in Wenger's year, and Wenger must be sitting there thinking, I cannot believe this. In my time, you didn't find a way to circumvent or work around the problems. There were windows where we had like Pochettino at Spurs. We had nothing. We brought in Arteta, Murtalaza, what's his name?
Mertesacker.
A person from South Korea who never played a game, and then we brought in four players.
Kalstroms,
That's how we got 8-3 at Man U, right? Yeah, that's how we got 8-3 at Man U. When Man U beat us 8-3, I think it was, or 8-2. That's when they brought in those 4 players to do what? So the point I'm trying to make is that I think the Kroenkes deserve more recent credit and should be applauded for their efforts. Right? We should not just give Bertha and Arteta all the credit for the progress. We should also give credit to the Kroenkes who had spent some money. Now, in terms of recruitment, Tony, what are some of the hits and misses? Because I don't think you can get credit for everything. is the recruitment more about the technical director or about the manager?
Yeah, I mean, again, we have had some absolutely outstanding players come through the door during the Kroenke era. But it's been a mixed bag. I think you kind of have to go. I'll probably put it down to about 50-50 success to failure.
Okay. So I did do a poll. Again, I didn't get I got more votes on who were the worst signings than what the best signings. Let me try to pull that poll up. Best signing during his tenure, and you can see here, people have think Gabriel actually is even better than Rice and Ødegaard, which is interesting. These are the four I brought. These are the four the better signings, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
But he cost 20-something mil, didn't he? But he and Saliba cost 20-something mil. They probably worth 200 mil now.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, Saliba might now be looking to outshine that particular purchase because, again, you look at the age when we signed him, you look at the fact that he's now signing a 5-year contract. His value to the club now is probably outstripped that of Gabriel. So yeah, it's.
And we bought him from the same club with Fofana, right? Fofana was not Chelsea, who went to Leicester. They were both the centre half. We bought him instead. Arteta didn't play him. He was kept on loan. Then Arteta didn't play him. He went back to France, and now he's signed a 5-year contract, as you said, more recently, or he's going to sign a 5-year contract. Probably worth over £100 million. And Real Madrid, bye. That's all to say about that one. So Real Madrid was around, but think about the players we have bought: Rice, Ødegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, Partey, Timber, Raya. We've made some very smart purchases.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you may say misses maybe include Vieira is probably a big one. I remember Pablo Mara came in. La Congo was recommended by what's the coach of Bayern Munich? Company. They was not Yaya Toure. Hasn't really worked out.
Yeah.
Havertz, to me, someplace in the middle. I wouldn't say he's a miss, but he's not a hit either. He's a miss.
I get that. I mean, to me, a miss is like Gunnar Runnarsson, the goalkeeper.
Oh Lord,
that was definitely
that's madness.
Yeah.
He's not 1 million. He cost 1 million, right? He didn't cost a lot of money, but he shouldn't have cost zero. I mean, not to berate the kid, but he was that poor. So we have Gabriel as probably the best signing. I think I had a worse signing here too, someplace. Yeah, here it is. It's between people say La Conga versus Tavares. I think Tavares is a good player. He just
I mean, if you look at the way he plays in other teams, you would go, he's actually quite good. I mean, for a long time he was one of the top defenders in the French league when he was at Marseille. He ended up in Italy, and he wasn't like terrible.
Right.
So there's definitely a player there. It was just whether he was the player that Arsenal wanted, and clearly he wasn't.
No, I remember him playing a game. Was it the League Cup game where he got taken off before the first half was completed?
It was a League Cup,
yeah. He's had a tough time. I think he could be a good footballer. He had all the physical attributes. It just didn't work out. Now, we have turned over about 30-plus players. Arteta joined with the Ozil, the Mahrez, the Aubameyang, the Xhaka.
I think what you have to bear in mind when you're analysing the success of a player is also when it didn't work out at Arsenal, were they able to get any kind of recompense for their services? And the fact that Arsenal have been so bad in terms of gaining any kind of financial recourse for players sold, it does affect what people say in terms of certain players. I mean,
it's been awful actually. Awful. I mean, we'll get to that. But it's been awful. We'll get to that. Now, let's switch to the manager. let's switch to the manager. Because I have a question here. We're going to talk about the manager. Does he need an offensive coach? You know, like in NFL,
Yeah.
offensive coach. I think he needs an offensive coach. I'm sorry. He's a not that you have defensive coordinators who became a head coach.
Yeah.
I think he's closer when it comes to offense. Yesterday's game against Port Vale was a perfect example.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing. We just pass the ball around. We're going around in circles. We don't know how to penetrate.
Yeah, I agree.
And he has a set piece coach.
And that's what's really strange to me is in football generally, they haven't worked out the concept that, you know what, we can have coaches for every aspect of the game. Obviously, they have a goalkeeping coach.
Yes.
And they have a set piece coach. But you don't see the offensive coach. You don't see the defensive coach. You sometimes see a striker coach. You know, I've always thought it would be great if Thierry Henry was going back to Arsenal and work exclusively with the strikers.
Yeah, he does that with Belgium, I think, actually.
It doesn't appear to happen at any club where they bring in those particular roles. And to me, it's so clear. For years, I've been what I think is an advocate for bringing in people to do specific jobs. So, for instance, if you want to shore up a defense, Sam Allardyce was your man. Back in the day, everybody knew if you're about to get relegated and you just want to stop goals going into your net, get Sam Allardyce because he'll shore up your defense just like that.
You know what's funny, Tony? I'm gonna get into the details about it. You know what's funny? When I hear them talk about Man U, they say Fergie never took a coaching session. So who coached him? Right? Was just the player just good and he got it done? Is it because we had coaches like Steve McLaren and he knows offense? How does it work? Because as you're saying, specialization is now inherent in sports, how people operate. Right? So if you have a goalkeeper coach and you have a set piece coach, to me, which are not the most important part of the game, to be honest. Goalkeeping is imperative, right? Even though people haven't focused on set pieces, so that's why it becomes more important. But the offense and the defense are the most important pieces, and you have no coaches for those specifically trained to focus on that. They're more generous. So let's think about Arteta. I think to me, he has leveraged the Man City philosophy: ball possession, high press, high line, big mobile center backs, inverted right or left back or both, ball playing goalkeeper, wingers wide, right? Ball possession. Obviously, if it doesn't have the ball, they can't score. So you keep the ball, you recycle the ball till you find some way to penetrate that has vulnerability and weakness, and you exploit that. Except we seem to have glasses on because we can't find any weakness in any team nowadays. When we're playing. So his strengths are clearly, I'm going to say, some tactical identity, defensive solidarity, leadership. But the weaknesses to me, and you can tell me your view on this, conservative, attacks often flat, heavy reliance on Saka, reactive substitution, reactive game management. Your perspective. We have only made, let me just say this, people, in the last 5 years plus, we have spent $1.1 billion gross. We haven't won any trophy in that time period. That was 5 years, I'm saying, not when he just joined 2019. But since summer 2019, we haven't won any trophies. We have made one semi-final. That was the Europa League to Villarreal. We have made two semifinals, sorry. Last year to PSG. We have made no finals. We have won no trophies. We have spent $8 billion. And we've had a chance to win about 20-something trophies, more than that. All right? 20-something opportunities we have had. Okay, you have 3 in the UK, and you have the Champions League, or the Europa League, which we have been in for most of those years. So over 20 opportunities to win a trophy, 0. Big 0. Your thoughts, Tony?
So I think it's, for me, I look at the long road and I go, yeah, everything you say is absolutely true. He has all those issues, all those fallibilities he has. However, when I look at the long road and I go, has he done a decent job in all those years, 6 years at Arsenal? has he moved the team from where he had, what he received when he joined the club to what he has today? There is no doubt. Trophies aside, this team has improved so significantly that we are now considered one of the world best. And I don't think we were even in the discussion when Arteta joined.
Right. So
for
the
that,
contrary.
for that, you have to commend him and hold him directly responsible for that improvement.
So he gets partial credit for that improvement. Here's why. It's not his money. And we spent about $1 billion plus. And almost every team, apart from Manchester United, who, by the way, has won more trophies in that period than we have. But you're right about trajectory. They're not there. We're there. Right? Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona, well, money problems, by the way. And if they win the league last year. Us, Chelsea, Man City, not even Liverpool, because Liverpool ain't spend nothing like we spend, which I'll show you in a word. All those teams have spent a lot of money. Juventus, PSG, yes, PSG, forget. Juventus didn't spend money, but they ran out of money. All those teams have won titles. PSG win all the time. They even won a Champions League more recently. So if you're going to say, give him all this credit, how does one assess credit? Is it where I am and where I'm going, or is it what I have done? Because you haven't won anything. And if the ultimate goal I'm taking is to win, you haven't won anything. All these teams I mentioned spend a lot of money, have won.
I get that.
So you have to achieve your goal. You have to achieve your goal, the ultimate goal.
You're absolutely right in one respect, in that he hasn't won a trophy apart from that first FA Cup. However, when you say he hasn't won, we have to work this out. He has won a significant number of games. I don't think there's another manager in Arsenal history whose win percentage is as high as his. He's up in the 80%.
Right.
So when you say
there's no other manager,
he has brought a winning mentality to this club, to the fan base. Now we're actually spoiled because you know what? We didn't have that. You know, people like yourself, Kroenkes, will go on about, Emery this, Emery that. Look at their two respective careers. But Emery won all the trophies. But look at what they've done.
Right. So
Emery doesn't have
Arteta has done nothing.
He has done nothing. I get it.
Nothing. But wait. Tony, if they retire today, what do they judge you on?
I get it.
How the trophies you won?
I get it.
He has done nothing.
I get it.
Nothing.
I can give you. Hang on. I can give you a list as long as my arm of managers who are considered to be top-rate managers who have gone years on years without a single trophy.
No, I can't think of any actually.
Yeah.
I can't. Give me one. Give me one. Just one. I want. Just one. If you don't win, you're not considered a great manager. Ferguson, tons of Premier League. Ancelotti, I don't think that great man, not a strategist. Manager, one. Zinedine Zidane, who they say never coached a day in his life, one. Okay? Yeah. Mourinho, one. Pep, one. Klopp, one. You're judged based on your trophies that you win. That's it.
Of course, but you're obviously counting the people who you remember are winning those trophies.
How far back you want to go?
How far back you want to go? The winners. What isn't so easy is to remember those who ain't winning, and the number of those is longer than your arm.
I agree.
Only one team can win the league, you know. Tony. So when Pep was dominating, you weren't going, Klopp's rubbish. Yeah. When Pep was winning, you weren't going, Pochettino's rubbish. When Pep was winning, you weren't saying Mourinho's rubbish. Yeah. Only one guy can win. Right.
Only one guy can win.
I understand your frustration, and the fallibilities in Arteta are true, but the point is,
people look at the money. People look at the money spent. It's value for money. Life is about money. Money is the
Okay.
most important thing in life. Don't you
Let
know
me,
anything
let,
else?
let me address this value for money situation. When I
Yes.
go to Arsenal, as you know I do,
Yes.
and I spend my good pound monies to go and watch football, more often than not, I mean, yesterday's debacle was terrible to watch. It was awful. Yeah. However, more often than not, I leave satisfied, overtly satisfied at the pound per minute that I've paid to watch the game of football. And don't forget, I'm going to watch Arsenal in Los Angeles, Madrid, Barcelona, Paris. I go all over the world wherever Arsenal play. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you know what? I actually fancy going on a trip to another country to watch Arsenal play. And I often find that I'm satisfied with what I paid. You know, I've just come back from Vegas.
Right.
The money I spent on that fight ticket was ridiculous. And I have to say, was that worth the money?
I can imagine.
Was that worth the money? Yes,
Right.
it was. So I'm very, very careful of how I spend my money. And I have no doubt in my mind that supporting Arsenal, in all the years I've supported Arsenal, I've spent a lot of money, and I think I've got value for money.
So I have a
Because I've
question for you.
seen titles,
question
I've
for you.
seen undefeated, I've seen fantastic players, I've seen everything. You know, I feel gifted that I chose Arsenal to be my football team. I don't feel anywhere like that when I consider the Miami Dolphins, because I'm like, what the hell? I've got tickets to go see the Miami Dolphins play in Madrid next month. And I'm like, I've wasted my money already.
Ain't no good.
I haven't even gone to the game, and I already know I've wasted
But
my
I
money.
have a question for you, though.
Go
Since
ahead.
you want to go there, do you think Liverpool fans love to go see them play?
I think they do.
What
Absolutely.
about Barcelona? What about
Yeah.
Barcelona? What
Yeah.
about Real Madrid?
Absolutely.
What about Bayern?
Yes,
What about City?
sometimes.
Well, they're not really fans, actually. They're too new. Even Chelsea won the club world. The point I'm making is that we're in the top 10 in generating revenues.
Yeah.
Right? In the world. So that's my comparative.
But we're also in the top 10 of producing entertaining football.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, don't you want to go on the bus and be there celebrating and your cigar in your mouth sometime before you die?
I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I've been there. I've been to the mountain.
No, and you want to go back there.
I do. You're absolutely right.
This is the first. Look, this is Arteta.
If I'd never been there in my lifetime, I would be absolutely gutted. But I can't say that because I have.
But everybody going there, but just Crystal Palace went
multiple times.
Crystal Palace
multiple times.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, Newcastle more recently are celebrating, and we are just looking on.
I'm so happy for those teams to finally, after years of supporting their teams, to see them actually win something.
Right.
Because to go your entire life and not have received one visit to a national stadium, to have, look, at the end of the day, Arsenal Women's Champions League winners last year. And I know I'm clutching at straws. But you know how proud that
you're making the point for me. You're making the point for me.
But you know how proud that makes me as an Arsenal fan. It's like, wow, Ballon d'Or winners, Arsenal, team of the year.
Tony, it proved my point though. We ain't spend that much money per capita on the women's team. We don't win games we're not supposed to win. Let me say that again. We don't win games we're not supposed to win. It's like Gareth Southgate for England. He doesn't win games he's not supposed to win.
You say that, but was we supposed to hammer Man City 5-1 last year at the Emirates?
No, we won the game. We won the game. We were supposed to win the game. But it's 5-1 or 6-1. No, I said win. I didn't say by what margin.
Was we supposed to win 5-1?
No, but we won. We were supposed to win. So
see what I'm saying?
The margin to me doesn't matter.
It's not just winning. It's the entertainment and it's the satisfaction of knowing we didn't just go out and beat them. We went out and smashed them to smithereen.
Tony,
and
we
I've
were
seen
told
that over and over in my lifetime.
Yeah, we were told. We all came to the season saying 3 years in a row second. This has to stop. Arne Slot came in and won in his first year. First year, he came in and won a trophy. First year.
Hat off to him. Brilliant.
Mikel Arteta got the job with no experience. Mikel Arteta is the first manager.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Let me say it again, Tony. No No managerial experience. No
Yeah,
managerial
but
experience.
his job ultimately was don't worry about the management side, coach the team. That's what he was brought in to do, coach the team. Yeah, you'll get the title of a manager, but actually, you're the first team coach.
Tony, there's a difference between the first team coach and being a manager. Here's the difference, people.
It's a bit like in American football. You got the head coach, you got the offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Yeah, that's his job, offensive coordinator.
Yes, and that's exactly the difference from the head coach. The head coach is the one who gets fired when things go wrong. The head coach makes the final decision. Yeah. The head coach says, "Do I go for the 4th and 1?" Yeah. When you say, "You know what? That's not your offensive coordinator job." Yeah. So he's not been a head coach. He got one of the biggest jobs in football, but never been a head. That's never happened. Has that ever happened before in football? Ever? Think about it.
No, I agree.
You have to have a resume to get a job. You can't get a resume as an assistant coach in football because nobody knows what you do, except those who are in the industry, understand what you do. Nobody outside knows what you do.
And as a result of getting that job without any experience, do you not feel that the Kroenkes are validated in making that decision now?
Well, I think some people interview brilliantly. Right? You're going to interview somebody. I interviewed a guy one time when I was at Investment Bank. And I walked away telling my assistant, I said to her, hire him. And she's like, well, I've interviewed him. I said, no. Okay, go interview him. Prove my point. She came back and said, oh my God, he's so much. When you interview some people and they come across with that gravitas, that knowledge, but they may not be able to execute. Right? Or in certain situations, when the pressure is on, like with him, when the pressure is on, he doesn't always make the right decision.
Correct, I agree. But so the same thing can be leveled at a whole host of coaches.
Yes, that's true. Even Pep, by the way. Even Pep.
Absolutely.
Playing Fernandinho right back against Vinicius Jr. Can't forget that one.
Yeah.
That's asinine, by the way. But no, my frustration with Arteta is this. There's a couple of things. One is, I watch you go to Liverpool. We have an excellent team. Our defense is stellar. We don't need to be protecting that back 4 24/7. We don't need Marino playing. What Marino does, slow the game down. You can't play Marino and Rice. You play one of the two. You don't play both. Sorry, not buying that. I can see either of them play because I think Rice is one of the most overrated footballers in football, period. All I hear Declan Rice is a Ballon d'Or player. He's a team of this, and I'm thinking, what does he do? What does Rice do? What does he do that's exceptional? He's a defender to me.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. We've had this conversation on many an occasion, and I'm totally in agreement with you. He is overrated. I can see what his value is to the team.
Yeah.
But when I look at him and compare him to other players like a McAllister or even an Enzo Mares, what's his name?
Fernandez from Chelsea.
Yeah. They obviously have different qualities.
Yeah, offensively is not there, right? Even people kill me for this. To me, Xhaka was a better 8 than Rice is. Because what Xhaka did really well is get Martinelli involved in the game.
Yeah.
When Xhaka left, Martinelli's game went down the road. Because Xhaka would spread the ball from left to right or spread the ball out wide, support Martinelli. That support is no longer there. Right? And so the problem I have with the Arsenal team is Zubimendi can't play a single pivot. Partey play a single pivot.
Yeah.
So then you need help with Zubimendi because defensively is not there. Good on the ball, spatial awareness, great vision, comfortable in possession. But look at him defensively.
Yeah.
Maybe his legs are too short. I don't know. He don't have enough ground. Partey did, but he doesn't. He's not a single pivot CDM. So then you have to provide more protection for him. Against Liverpool, Tony, and Liverpool was still early in the season. I believe we play Eze will win that game. I will play Eze will win that game. Him playing a hybrid 10 to supply our forwards. Our forwards are starving for crumbs. And we're not, and Arteta would say, we play better than PSG when in the Champions League. What game was he watching? We were dominant against City. City knows we're better than them. They knows we're better than them. No team in football, let me just say, if you're going to, no team in football gives up the ball to you unless they know you're better than them and they play you on the counter. No team gives up the ball. They're not giving the ball up. City has never done that in the entire time Pep has been there since we played them the other day. Right? First time they had on a 40% possession, I think it was, in a game. Because they know we're better. They can't get the ball off us. And we press them, and we take risks against them. No, it almost cost us twice. I don't know what Gabriel was drinking. But at the end of the day, if you're a football and you've played football, who wants to be running around on defense 24/7 when I can keep the ball? Nobody. Because I can rest on offense. And if I press you on defense, I'm in a much better place. So, yeah. Look, if I was Arsene Wenger, Tony, I'll be rolling over saying, why couldn't I have done this? I may still be at Arsenal 13 years, 10 years later if I got the support that Arteta is getting. Do you think if Wenger was here and didn't win a trophy in the last 5 years, how we'd react to him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to bring Wenger into a conversation about Arteta because I do think that Wenger had his fallibilities that were so glaringly obvious. You know.
Well, here's the difference. Wenger didn't believe in defense. And Arteta just believes in defense. When Wenger's team played Tony, we enjoyed the football.
Yeah.
We may not like the outcome, but we created chances in abundance. What we didn't do really well is think about if we lose the ball, what do we do?
Yeah.
You think about Aaron Ramsey running around playing center forward when he's supposed to be playing the 8. Right? That's what we didn't do. But with this team, it's the opposite. We think defense first, and we're not scoring enough goals to allow us to compete at the highest. Not to compete, we compete, but to get over the line. Now, if I spot Liverpool 5 points, and Isak is not up to speed, right? Words has been poor for in where I sit, and they get up to speed. Do you think we can catch them?
I think you have to wait. You have to give it until Christmas. The league's not won by the end of September, let's be honest. So let's just be, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Yeah, we'll put ourselves in a 5-point deficit, but let's wait till Christmas. Let's see what's going on by then.
Here's the problem, Tony.
Liverpool have been very fortunate. How many games have they won by 1 goal that they scored in a 90th minute and plus?
But here's the problem, Tony. We give it 5 points. You have to keep on winning.
You do.
Remember when you replaced City, we won like 19. We didn't lose in like 21 games. We still didn't win the title.
I mean, you couldn't dream that City were going to go on that kind of run. I mean, that.
But the point I'm making, though, Liverpool has the potential to go on that kind of run. They do. Their team that they built, they spent as much money as we have, spent more than us. Okay? And they won last year.
Yeah.
This team won last year and spent more than us this year.
Do you not think somebody at Liverpool is thinking exactly the same thing? There's no way that with what they've spent, they shouldn't walk the league this year.
Exactly. No, I agree. They should. They should think that way, and they're thinking that way. But then if we go another year without a trophy, let's not say the league because we may not win the league or the Champions League, but without a trophy, that will not sit well. He'll be under. They won't fire him because the Kroenkes don't operate that way. Right? He's generating money. He's built a team which is probably the most valued team in football, period. If you go and add up the value for each Arsenal player and compare it to any team in football, it's probably the highest in the entire football community across all leagues. Right? Maybe Barcelona may be pretty close given they've improved quite a bit between Rafinha and Yamal and their midfield. But I think we'll be up there. And maybe Real Madrid also is pretty close, but we're up there. Right? Our defense alone is probably valued about 300 million plus. So the question then arises, if you have a quality disposal and you spend all that money, Liverpool and Arsenal, I wouldn't say City or Man U or Chelsea, and you expect to win. And only one trophy, at least for the Premier League anyway. Now, would you take an FA Cup versus the EPL this year? Or do you think it has to be EPL or Champions League for Arteta?
For me, it has to be EPL or Champions League. I'm not happy with just the FA Cup this year or just the Carabao Cup. I'm sorry.
But as you just said, Liverpool expect to walk the league, not just win.
Absolutely.
So if that's the case, would he be held to that higher regard, or would be mandate he wins when Liverpool has spent more than us and they won last year.
Mm.
But is that fair to Arteta? I'm going to play reverse psychology.
It's not really. It's not really fair to Arteta, but you know what? Football isn't fair. It just isn't fair. You know, ultimately, you know, you can only deal with what you're handed. You know, ultimately, at the end of last season, everyone knew Arteta's goal was to get Alexander Isak. Now, if he gets that, game over. To me, it's game over.
What's your thoughts on Gyökeres?
He isn't Alexander Isak. That's my fault.
I'm not sure. Ekitike.
He's not him either. You're right.
He's not
absolutely right. But you know, there's not many Isaks, and ultimately, our fiercest rival, our number one competition, did get that player who would have made the whole difference in our outlook for this season.
So where does he rank in terms of striker in the Premier League, Gyökeres, at this point? Still early. If you think about Liverpool and Man City, let's say except Man U, Chelsea, who have João Pedro, Sesko at Man U. I don't know who the hell Newcastle have nowadays. And they have somebody from Germany that can't even pronounce his name. I mean, where does he rank just early in the season? Where would you rank him?
I don't think we should be looking at that and going, let's rank him compared to the other strikers, because it normally takes you 6 months to acclimatise. Henry didn't score for his first 6-8 games. Bergkamp didn't score for his first 10 games. Yeah, so we know that the Premier League is unlike any other league, and it takes an acclimatization period for you to really get into, you know, how to best get the best out of a player in that system. So I don't want to compare him to other strikers who've been in the league for years and know their way around it, and you know, are physically more prepared for the rigors of Premier League football compared to him. But I'm hopeful that, you know, he can be something this year.
Here's the problem I have with the striker. Look, he score goals. He got thunder a shot, and he probably scored from outside the box. I don't think he can create his own shot. That's what
I know. I think there's a fallibility for him, and you know, I think there's a number of things that ultimately are going to let him down this season. But I've got to be hopeful that, you know, Arsenal need to find a way to get the best out of him with the attributes that he has. Yeah. Ultimately, this is one of them. Again, if we go back to the NFL comparison, you got a wide receiver who, you know, Tyreek Hill is an amazing wide receiver, but you got to know how to play him, because he's only 5'6" and a bit. And despite having good hands, not great hands, despite being able to run great patterns and his speed, he is an every down back wide receiver. He needs to be specifically drawn up specific plays to get the best out of him.
Yeah, I'm watching a few games and I'm like, when he moves away from the center of the pitch, he looks clumsy. He doesn't look smooth and fluid. You know, Isak can play out wide. Ekitike can play out wide. Those players are very versatile. Run the channel really well. Good control. Good in the air. He has a lot of those attributes. But he can run the channel, but he's moved. The goal that Martinelli scored the other day, where was he?
He could never score that goal.
He was in the outside position on the left side of the field. And I'm saying, why are you in the outside position? What are you doing?
Well, to be honest, if you actually consider that his position in there moves defenders so that Martinelli can get that.
But no, they were playing up more because he was in outside position. You're right. They probably had Martinelli run behind them.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, I think he was just out of position. I don't think he was doing it deliberately to draw the defense. I just think he'll score goals. That shot he took and hit that upright. almost broke it in a game. I forgot which game he was playing in. I said to myself, we got to find a way to give him chances. And yesterday's game, here's part of my disappointment too. Our wingers are not dynamic. They're not dynamic. I watched Saka yesterday. Didn't beat his man once, Tony.
Yeah.
In the 6-7, he didn't beat his man. He's a safe winger. He takes it, he touches it, he dribbles, he hesitates, he dribbles, he moves. His shielding, his strength is phenomenal for a short player. He shields it, he comes inside, but so that's why people excited about Madueke, who has no goals, no assists, and people still excited.
Yeah.
Because he gets it and he says, okay, let's go for a race.
I mean, again, it's choose your poison, because for years you were championing Alan St. Maximum, and he was an absolutely amazing dribbler.
Yeah.
A very aggressive winger who always took on a team, and he could beat 4 or 5 players for fun in a game sometimes, but always let you down with the last ball.
Yeah, I'm wondering for those players. You know who's like that too, but who's gotten better? Doku.
Yeah.
And he roasted, by the way, he roasted.
It's funny because I was looking at Jamie Gittins yesterday and thinking to myself, he's going to be the same. He's going to have moments where he's going to dazzle, but end product is going to be, very few and far between.
Can that be taught? Jamaica has one called CFAS on our team. Can that be taught, actually? Can you teach someone to make good decisions, or is it almost become muscle memory? You have learned it from your 5-6 years old. It becomes part of your repertoire, right? Versus these players who are amazing to get rid of people, but then there's no end product. No one's on the end of their ball. They don't score. And you get excited about them, but then you get frustrated with them.
Yeah, so that's what you have to consider with Saka, the Noni Madueke, the Martinellis, the Trossards. They all bring something different to the game.
That is true.
At any given time, all 4 of them can frustrate you.
I think Trossard is a substitute. He's the best goal scorer in the team, by the way. I don't know about him and Gyökeres, but if you watch Trossard in the middle of the park, when he gets a shot off, he's picking a spot to put the ball in.
Yeah.
Yesterday's goal was a really good goal. Him drifting across and going back across the keeper, really good goal. But his overall game is not there.
It's not at all. He's so frustrating to watch when he starts a game.
Yeah. I think Martinelli is a centre forward. I don't think Martinelli is a winger. I don't think Martinelli should be thinking football. I think he should be playing football.
Yeah.
I think he should be running. I mean, think about it. We have nobody going to be at the defense apart from him and maybe Madueke. But Saka and Havertz and even Gyökeres, they're not, and Trossard, they're not getting behind defenses.
No.
So how do I then stretch the defense if I then not there when they fear me? Look at Haaland, for example. You see Gabriel trying to catch Haaland? That part is amazing, right? I mean, that speed, that burst and that turn of speed, you need that in your forwards.
You do.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you can have that in a team and you just don't use it the right way.
Well, we're not. Well, I know what we're using offensively. I'm just offensively trying to figure us out. I don't know what we're doing offensively. Look, we don't have enough creativity up the field. Look at our teams and the creativity.
Yeah.
Right? If you think about the midfield going forward, who in the midfield is creative apart from Eze?
Yeah.
I mean, Edmoneri, yes.
Everybody's looking for Ødegaard to come back with a spark because we've seen it before. We know what the blueprint is. He was the guy.
Yeah, but last year and early this year, it looked like it eluded him somewhat.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a down year.
That's what we're all waiting for. That's what we're all waiting for. Is we want to see the re-emergence of Ødegaard, where he becomes this prominent playmaker. Threading the eye of a needle and creating opportunities left, right, and centre, and obviously picking up goals himself when he can.
So here's what I like to see Arteta do.
Doing the same.
Here's what I think would be revolutionary for Arteta. You may think I'm mad saying this. I play Rice in the 6 as a single pivot. He covers a ton of ground. I play Ødegaard in the 10. And I play Eze in the hybrid 8.
That doesn't sound ludicrous at all.
Right? So I'm having a lot of creativity. I have one player who can cover Rice cover a ton of ground.
Yeah.
Ton of ground. clean up stuff, brilliant defensively, offensively just not there. Eze doesn't work as hard defensively. Anything he's getting there, you notice him. He's trying to run back, which is naturally to do at Paris. But him in the 8 as a creative with Ødegaard, also creative, and I played him less front and played him a little bit more back, right? So they have more to go forward. And then I can play Martinelli and Saka and Gyökeres.
I'll be more than happy with that. I think that is the future. You know, I think that is the future.
But he's not going to bench Zubimendi, though. He's not going to bench Zubimendi.
Well, he has a lot of talent in his squad now, and he has between now and Christmas to work that talent out. Who's going to be his first 11? Because I'm pretty certain come Christmas, we will be somewhere where he's going to have to make very vital decisions. Does Havertz come back in if Gyökeres isn't delivering? What does he do with Gabriel Jesus? How can he integrate him into the team? I still think there's something there in it. I think
I love Jesus, by the way. I love Jesus, by the way.
I think he has something to offer the team.
Yeah, I think Jesus, without the injuries, he's extremely creative. I'm always wondering players like Jesus. Do you try him in different places here at work? Do you keep rotating and say, you know what, let me just see what his best position is? It may not be center forward. It could be the 10, right? It could be the 10. It could be the left wing, because we don't have a left winger who we are comfortable with.
Absolutely. And imagine that's what you've got in your roster to play with. You've got so much opportunity to try different things. You know, he has conundrums at left back. Calafiori, Luis Skelly, Nkapie. Obviously, right back.
And Gabriel may be the best defender of all of them, actually.
Yeah. Ultimately, right back, I think is a lock. I don't think there's anyone better than Jurriën Timber in the Premier League.
In football, I've been saying it for the last 2 years. In football, no. Name a better right back in football. Right back, I said, not left back, because Mendy is good.
I think Hakimi might.
I know people say that. Hakimi may be better going forward. I'm not sure he's a better defender. But he's better going forward. He's an offensive right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a case for Hakimi. That's a fair point.
Yeah. So, you know, Arteta has a lot of things to consider in the next 6 months or next 3 months. And we wait and see whether he can solve the conundrum.
So here's a question. Do you think Arteta makes commitment to certain players and he's struggling with what to do? Did he make a commitment to Marino about playing, about Zubimendi playing them? There's a playing time. Do you think that's part of it? That's why he may play certain players?
I think he struggles in that. I think he needs assistance. You know, I think he needs someone in his ear to say, you know what, make that change.
Yeah, because I've said this before, and you hear me saying this, which is, I think he's reluctant to play Eze in the 10, because Eze will take Ødegaard's game. I think he's reluctant to play Eze. And I heard what's his name say too, after I said it, Curtis, from who's at AP, and him said the same thing. I think he's reluctant to play him there because you play him there and he's balling out. People saying, why you put Ødegaard back in? And Ødegaard is the captain. So how do you bench your captain, which doesn't work, right? Because Eze is a more complete player than Ødegaard. He's a better goal scorer. He's just as creative. Maybe don't work as hard. So what would it be if you play Eze there continuously until Ødegaard comes back and then you realize, you know what? I can't take him on the team.
Yeah, so it's the type of problem that any manager would want to have. You know, if I've got that many riches in my roster to choose from, who wouldn't want that?
Well, it's good and bad. I can tell you this, and I heard
gift and a curse, right?
Wait, no, because Adebayor said this. So when he was at Arsenal with Van Persie, I forget who you had to mention. Was he there with Henry too in the later stage?
Yeah.
He said he'd been in Wenger's office every single day complaining about not getting game time. And he said he understand who was in front of him, but he didn't really care. So you being Nkapie, you're playing for Ecuador. You have 16, 13 clean sheet, whatever it is. You're balling out in Germany, and you come sit on the bench. And I heard Calafiori say something almost similar about not playing last year. So are they always in the manager there, and the manager get frustrated and say, you know what? That's why Pep said he doesn't want more than a certain number of players. because maybe hard to manage. Players who are accomplished internationals who want to go to the World Cup also not getting playing time. How does that work? That's the problem.
Yeah.
It may seem like a good problem because I have choices.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem if you're Lewis Kelly, you want to go for England to the World Cup, and now you're playing every single game.
Yeah.
And you're only going on League Cup games and FA Cup games. You're not getting EPL games and Champions League games.
So yeah, I mean, Arteta has to juggle that. There's, how's he giving everybody playing time? How's he satisfying their wants and needs, and keeping people fit, keeping them engaged in the squad so that they can come in and do a job. But yeah, ultimately that's his job, which I think we just have to sit back and wait.
I was thinking about this. So you're only allowed what? Is it 19 or 20 players on match day?
20. 20.
So that we have more than 20 in terms of good players who may not make the match day squad.
Of course,
the bench. So if you're Edwin Henry, I'm not going to talk about the kid because the 15-year-old kid is the kid, and you're Lewis Kelly, you may not be in certain match day squads.
Yeah.
That can't be a good feeling. Then you're way down on the roster. You're way down the line. Way down.
Guards having that, and
no guard. No guard can be a constant. No guard can make most squads like that because Rice can play the 6.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna come back at some point, and he's gonna go. Hang on a second, I was the Brentford club captain. I'll walk into a lot of other teams.
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. Look, I've been in those situations. I'm amateur player.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting on your bench. I'm leaving. I'll be honest. I'm leaving. You can't make your mark and you can't make your name on the bench.
Absolutely.
I don't care how good the team is, especially if we're not winning trophies. I am not going to sit there. Here's going to be a problem. Madueke, for example. So he comes back and it's like balling out. I can't get on the field because Martin is playing the left side. What does he do? He wants to go to the World Cup. He's going to be in the manager's office. Even though he may know, what? Saka may be a better player than I am. And he's playing really well. So even though it may be a good problem, it's a good thing for the fans to see we have a great bench. As a player, it's not a good feeling.
No.
It's not a good feeling. You play football, it's not a good feeling to be on the bench. Period. Much less not in the match day squad. Forget about it. You're not even changing.
Yeah, and ultimately you might stomach it if you're winning trophies, because ultimately you get to walk up to the stairs and pick up a trophy because you're part of that squad. But if you don't win nothing, you ain't getting that experience either, because many a player have been part of a successful squad but been a bit part player.
Yeah.
But you know what? At least I've won trophies.
You hear what Zinchenko talked about how difficult it was for him last year. Now he's playing midfield now at Nottingham Forest. But if you're Zinchenko, who played a lot for Man City at left back, you get game time, you won trophy, you come to Arsenal, and you're told you're part of the solution, and then you becomes nobody's thinking about you. And you can't make money sitting on the bench or not being in the squad. Because you're going to think about your compensation too. Your career is very short. The more you play, the more you perform, the bigger your resume, the more money you make. So it's an interesting dilemma. So as we go forward, I'm going to close down. As we go forward, you think about Arteta. What's the overall perspective on Arteta? And Arsenal, actually.
So ultimately, it's about, are you getting value for money? And he's up there right now in terms of salary. He's one of the highest paid managers in the world.
About 15 million.
So, are we getting value for money? To a certain degree, yes. In terms of improvement of squad, in terms of improvement of performance, improvement of place in a league, in a Champions League. But yeah, you do need to come back at some point and go, but what have you won? So I'm willing to say I'm happy to continue getting the improvement, so long as I continue seeing that improvement. I'm happy that he's been given an opportunity now to have better players in his squad, And I hope that improvement is also continuing based on the improvement in squad quality. I would say this season he has to deliver, or else someone else is going to, I'm sure, be considered for that role, because I don't think the Kroenkes should stand for mediocrity if you spend the amount of money they have spent.
So people say to you, Tony, okay, you say that, but here's a number of people with that question. Well, who do you get? Who is out there? Because right, that's a question I always come. I think like Arteta was out there, but he was an assistant coach. We got him.
And I think the thing is, I obviously said it earlier. You got to be careful what you wish for. You know, I definitely wouldn't be happy right now if I was an Aston Villa fan, because I don't think Emery's taking my team anywhere.
Is that Emery though, or is that the restrictions that they have?
Right.
Is that Emery or the restriction they have? Because they don't have any money. They got 7 more players now.
I get that, but even with what they had, I think he should have been doing better. I mean, you look at and you compare Emery's performance with, say, Thomas Frank. You compare it with Oliver Glasner, and you're like, well,
and Areola,
ain't doing.
Areola also has been brilliant.
Yeah.
Bournemouth has been brilliant.
So it's a toss up. It's very much I think give Arteta 1 year to improve. Let's see what we end up with at the end of this season. If we've run Liverpool right to the wire and we've lost it by a point and we've got to the Champions League semi-final again, would you walk away from him?
I would struggle. Anyway, I would struggle.
I don't think there's many managers who would do that.
No, I mean, if it was what's his name, Abramovich was fired a long time ago, but that's not a. He'd have fired him a long time ago. I mean,
your question is still valid. Who do you hire?
Right. So I would say, here's why I asked the question, because I think people say, and I laugh when people say it, because I'm saying, then you haven't done your research in football like Brighton does, who has 2 or 3 managers lined up for every single year, no matter who they have. So yeah, if you think about the immediate managers now, Areola at Bournemouth, Glasner, this is in terms of the Premier League at Crystal Palace. Those are 2 that jumps out to you. You wouldn't go with Thomas Frank, because he's not going to leave Tottenham to come to us. But he's a very good manager, right? Those are the ones that jump out. You can look across the world and say, is there anyone else? Then think about who's in Germany, who's in Spain, who's in France, right? You see, what's his name? Izerbi went from Brighton, went to Marseille. So people run their stats and figure out which managers do well and what they do. There are managers out there. Nobody's irreplaceable, except Alex Ferguson, as Man U's proven. But I'm saying, if you're doing like Brighton does, which is you're tracking people, like they track players and they track managers, you have them lined up. You source them out to say, now, are you interested if something ever goes wrong? Right? And you have somebody, not agreement, but on the table. Yeah, no, you can find somebody. He doesn't want anything to be irreplaceable. And we spend $1 million.
I totally agree with you. If I'm Arsenal, I am looking around and thinking who would be next if my manager doesn't succeed. I think
so. What does Arsenal need, Tony?
To do that.
Tony, what does Arsenal need? Forget 2 things. We're going to ask what Arsenal needs a team to do, and what the manager needs to do, and I mean mutually exclusive, right? So, what does Arsenal need in their team, whether it's individual players or the team, to be successful? Success means trophies, and then what does the manager need to improve on to allow them to get there?
So in terms of what do Arsenal need to do, I don't think there's very much, because we have a player in every position. We have 2 players in every position of high quality. I don't think there's a position where you go, we are wanting in that particular part of the field. I mean, Isak was the dream striker. We didn't get him, but we got what I think is an adequate striker that should be serviceable. I think it basically boils down to management, because like we say again about NFL, You know, you can build a great roster. I mean, Jerry Jones always brings in great players at the Cowboys, but has he ever had a head coach who could get that to work? Hell no. It's not always about the components of the team. Sometimes it is. You just literally have to change that head coach and say he isn't able to deal with the tools that I've given him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna give you an example, which I find very funny, and it's something a contradiction. But you know, the year after Guardiola left Bayern, they won the Champions League, right? And he was deemed to be a genius at Bayern, winning 3 German championship, Bundesliga title in a row. Couldn't give a Champions League home. And as he left, they won, right? And the players raved about him and his ability. I would say this for the team. I still think we need a left winger, Rafael Leao, a dynamic left winger. But that's it in terms of the team. We bought the strength. Let's see how he works out, right? Defensively, goalkeeper-wise, we're great. I think Kepa is a very good backup, as you alluded to. Center half, we have 4. And Kepa, the 2 we have now in Gabriel and Saliba and Mascara.
Yeah.
And even Ben White as an emergency backup, or Timber's emergency backup. We have enough defenders. Ben White can't get back in this team over Timber. And the left side, we have 3 left backs, right? In Kepa, we have Villarreal, we have Mike. So we defense, we shouldn't be stacking up any more defense. They're young enough and they're good enough for us not to buy that defender for a while. At least 2 or 3 windows. In the midfield, we have a problem.
Yeah.
We have a 6 who is good on the ball and decent offensively. Defensively, I think he's challenged in his mobility. And he'll be able to cover ground and be able to close down people. Right? We saw it in the Man U game when I forgot who we saw the Liverpool game because I didn't score get that free kick. But anyway, that's a one-off situation. But I watch him play, not overly impressed with his coverage like our parties to cover and toe ball off people's foot. It doesn't have to. Right? Good, brilliant on the ball, facial awareness, good player. We're probably in the 8th position. Rice is a normal starter. He's not a traditional 8. An 8 has to be versatile. Offensive, defensively, he's great defensively, great. Not just good, great. Offensively, he's challenged to me. Great at taking set pieces. That's it. Can't beat a man. Can't split a defense with a pass. So that's a challenge. We are great in the 10th position. Not good, great. I think Eze is brilliant. I think Ødegaard is very good and need to get better in terms of his goal scoring. Good. On the right side of the field, we're set. Saka and Madueke. We're set. We don't need any help there. We're set. Center forward, Havertz and Gyökeres. Question sign. Question sign for Gyökeres. And we know what Havertz does, right? He ain't going to get behind you. He's a brilliant hold-up player, not just good. He is good in the air. He's physical more than people think he is. He's just a good footballer, but not a dynamic center forward, like an Isak, for example. On the left side, we have Martinelli, who is a hit and miss. And we have Trossard, who's an impact sub, who gets the start. So the question is, do we need to upgrade the left side? So 6, 8, and the left side, probably all on the left side. We got to revisit whether or not that really works optimally, but it's serviceable to get us where we need to get. Mm-hmm. And the bench is loaded.
Yeah.
The bench is loaded, like loaded. We don't need to worry about I looked at yesterday's team and I'm like, whoa. Is this the second team or, 6% of the second team? Because if it is, they could all be starters, right? So we're loaded there. Come to the manager. I hate his game management. I hate his substitution pattern. I hate the team he picks. And I see the word hate. I go to Liverpool and I'm saying, okay, we're going to have Eze now. This is going to be great. Ødegaard is not there. Eze in the 10. Let Liverpool defend us. They can't defend. They give 2 goals a game on average against nobody. They can't defend. And then we went to we're playing like a back 8 and 3 offensive players where Gyökeres was new and on the left side wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I've watched him since 3 years ago. We played Man U. We're down 2-1. And I watched him put on about 4 forwards. And I'm like, we have lost the game every 70th minute, right? We're not at the point to just try a bunch of forward. We don't even know who's playing defense anymore. And I watched him subsequently, and I said to myself, I don't think you're the best strategic in-game manager. maybe great on the training field, great at setting people up because they rave about you and what you do and what they learn and all that. But in the games where the pressure is on, and he's such an excitable manager, he's not sitting there being cerebral, thinking to what to do. He's there jumping around and pointing and you're like, no. Be strategic, sit back, analyze, and then give the instructions.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we see different managers operate in different ways. We saw Amorim with his little pieces on the board, and we obviously know that, with Arteta, he's got Albert sitting there with the screen, and they're looking at the analytics and all that. But ultimately, you have to go, what are you doing? What exactly are you doing? Because he is always on the sideline shouting out instruction. And it's like, I don't really know if he's seeing the game the way he should do. Maybe he should sit in the upper stand and watch the game first.
Jamaica coach has done that.
I think there's so much value at looking at the game from that perspective before you come in and start making changes and going, well, you didn't do this, that, or the other. Because you can't see the game on the same way at that level.
You can't see the game on the sideline, Tony. I'm telling you. All you seeing is feet running around and balls being passed. When you're up top and looking down and you see the setup, you see people moving in different pockets and how the defense is moving. It's a different. I keep telling people, they're like, the Curse in Jamaica coach, and I'm like, guys, you don't understand. It's a different view. That's why the assistant coach is up in the stands for a lot of NFL teams.
Exactly.
It's a different observation. And I know this. I went to Jamaica in St. Louis playing US, up in the stands watching the game, and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is Jamaica coach doing? Don't you see that Robinson is running rupture to us and nobody's covering him and he's playing inverted and he's killing us? And the man made no change, Tony, and I'm losing my mind thinking, what the hell are you doing? Put somebody on him. Close it down. What? Can't you see that? But he's on the sideline and you're seeing the ball moving and people are running around like ants, and you're not seeing the game. You're not seeing it. But no, look, I think we have a very good team, almost a great team, but we need the manager to be the difference maker. We need the manager to be the difference maker, especially when it comes to Liverpool.
Come back and let's have this conversation in January and let's see what we feel. Because I think that sometimes you just have to sit and go, hang on a second, I'm just going to let things do what they need to do and let's see what happens. Because I think every year we probably jump out and go, he's not doing it right. And then by Christmas, New Year, we're like, okay, he's getting it right now.
But we still haven't gotten over the line.
Every year by Christmas, we're in the running.
No, I agree, but we still haven't gotten over the line. So we want to be in the running, or we want to be the ones who are ahead of the running?
Yeah, but you have to be in the running if you want to win it. You can't not be. If you're out of the running, you can turn around and go, I was right when I said back in September that he's not the right man, because look at where we are now.
So if we were Villa, if we were Nottingham Forest, I would say, if I'm Chelsea and I spent $2 billion over the last 6 years, net $1 billion. If I'm Liverpool, not even Liverpool, because Liverpool doesn't spend as much as us, Man City, Chelsea, none of us, right? Especially given their net spend. Because they've sold Suarez, they've sold Coutinho, they've sold players to invest in the team. If I'm Manchester United, who have been, they're probably poster child for really bad investments. Like they cost the owners for Man U. They've spent money. They spent 70-something million for Sancho, and 80 million for Anthony. I mean, and 70 million for
Maguire,
and 70 million for Casemiro. You want to talk about bad investments?
Yeah,
bad investments. That's bad investment. So we have bought smartly. It's not always perfect. We have bought brilliantly, not even smartly, frankly. Because look at who we have now and the evaluation. That's how you judge the asset that you bought.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to get over the line. And I'm tired of people saying, you guys, every time I go talk to an opposing fan, you know say, also Rams, you're not going to win. Here you go again. So I need to get that off our backs. We need to get that off our backs. But hey, this was good, Tony. As you said, we'll come back another time and talk about our state where we are. But we'll give it some time. We'll give it another 2 months and we'll reconvene.
All right.
All right. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you as always.
All right, sir. Enjoy your evening.
Take care.
All right. All right, everyone. So it's been a good discussion with Tony, talking about my team, Arsenal. And I will come back with some more EPL, just a general EPL discussion, not just Arsenal Football Club. I think Arsenal probably have one of the most valued, if not the most valued squad in football. You may say with Barcelona or Real Madrid or Liverpool on a net basis, but I think we are there. Drew Ross is going to tease and say we bought smartly, but not proper trophies. But here's the thing, Drew Ross, about buying smartly. You're always in the mix. So you may not win. You may not be able to have that parade. But would I prefer to be in my position on Crystal Palace, who was won last year? Would I prefer to be in my position on Newcastle? Would I prefer to be in my position of Man U, who's won two trophies in the last 3 years? Even they fired their manager, even though they won 2 trophies. Right, so it's all about, we got to think about this we got to think about this. I'm using the word cerebrally, which is this. Is it all just about trophies, which is an imperative and that's the objective, or is it about sustainability? I have not fired my manager because every year I'm in the mix. Man U fired their manager, even though they won 2 trophies in his tenure, he was only there just over 2 years. Right? Because when you finish down the path, then you're not really competing. And so I do think it's a difficulty for Arsenal fans when they can definitely see the definite progress that we have made, how good we play, how well we're situated, or hard we are to beat. And I think if we get better offensively, because we have only given up 2 goals in the Premier League this year, and we haven't got maximum points from those games. It's hard and one was a screamer. So think about 2 goals we have given: a counter-attacking goal and a set-piece goal. In 5-6 games. So that says a lot about the team and where we are. It's about 5 games. We've only given up 2 set-piece goals in those games. And 1 set-piece goal and 1 goal with a counter-attack. And if you play Man City in football and you have them playing low block football, that tells you do something right. Man United don't play low block. Man City don't play low block football ever. And we had them taking off all their forwards in that game, Doku, Haaland, all taking off, and putting on a bunch of defenders because they just want to walk away with a 1-0 victory. Same thing happened to us last year. We went to their place. We went up, had a man sent off, played too deep, and John Stones scored in the last minute. But it does tell you that Arsenal, we used to get stopped by Man City. We go to Man City, we expect to get 5 and 4 and 3. I go to Liverpool, the same thing. That's no longer the case. We don't go there with, I don't go there with any fear. My manager seems to do so because he goes very, very conservative. But I don't go to those teams having any fear that they're going to destroy us because we can compete with anybody in Europe. We just have to believe, and the manager has to take more risks to say, you know what? Fans want to win. Fans want to see good football. And we need to create chances of the team to give our offensive players opportunity to score goals. We can't just defend or recycle the football. We have to play in a way in which gives us the best chance to win and balance out the attack. It can't be overly defensive. Has to be a combination. But this is a good discussion with Tony. I thank you for being here. I probably will come back. I want to do a recap of the world, the Tokyo World of the Championship. I do want to do a recap actually, but I want to make sure I spend some time going through it before I do the recap. Don't want to do it too late because the information is already stale. But I do it between now and Saturday, and I hope you can join me then. So thanks those of you who spend your afternoon with me. I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the day. Peace out.